The importance of preserving the environment was instilled early in Trammell Crow's life by his father, whose name he bears.
Trammell S. Crow, his father, Trammell Crow also, was one of the early founders of a program in Dallas, a foundation in Dallas called the Dallas Trees and Parks Foundation. That subsequently became known as the Texas Trees Foundation. I was invited by Mr. Crow's dad to join him in working with the foundation, the purpose being to plant trees throughout the city of Dallas and even beyond that into North Texas and in some instances across the state. His father had a real passion for trees and passed that along to Mr. Crow, to Trammell. And as a young boy, he and his dad would go out in the backyard and on weekends and look at trees and talk about the environment. They'd do that at their farm down in East Texas. And so Trammell came by his passion for the environment very naturally by working with his dad.
Little did his father know the impact those days on their family farm would have on his son's life. But that was only the beginning. The year was 2005, and TXU, a multi-billion-dollar energy company, announced plans to build new coal-fired power plants in Texas. Coal is the dirtiest of all fuels used to generate electricity. Calculations indicated the new plants would generate 78 million tons of carbon dioxide each year. Trammell Crow, along with the Hotel.com founder Dave Littman and Container Store founder Garrett Boone, were strongly against the TXU proposal and joined forces to fight it, creating Texas Business for Clean Air in the process. They enlisted 300 business leaders and helped derail TXU's fast-track plans by advocating against the project at the Texas legislature.
When we met, we realized that there were a lot of environmental groups opposing this, but to go to the legislature and basically advocate for not doing this required, we thought, a business-focused group. And that had never happened in Texas. There had never been an environmental and business-focused group historically. So Trammell leading forward like that with Republican businessmen was hugely important because that just had not been done before, and nobody had really presented the environmental case in a way that conservative Republican business leaders could accept. But they could accept this message. It made sense. It was hard for anybody to say, you know what, we're for dirty air. We think it's really good for children. We think it's good for employees, and we think it's good for the state. I mean, nobody thought that was true.
In 2010, Crow was walking down the Champs-Élysées in France with his children when his next environmental initiative came to him.
Well, I like to tell the story that I finished this one project with environmental work, my first, and I realized that that's what I was going to do next. I'd waited all my life to involve in my passion. And so specifically the way it happened was I was with my kids on summer vacation in Paris and we were walking down the Champs-Élysées and it just occurred to me, like kind of how the ideas come, that would be the project. And also having worked at the Dallas Market Center here in Dallas with the apparel show, the furniture show and so forth, I was aware of the effectiveness of convention, of Congress, of visitor outreach, bringing people together, of programming, and primarily of expo, of creating display.
Crow believes strongly that if businesses contribute to environmental problems, then businesses, even more than government, need to be a part of the solution.
In so many places, there's still, I'll say, a liberal attitude of the opposition of business and environment because they're dwelling under old conceptions.
He'd been to Dallas's small Earth Day Dallas in downtown Pegasus Plaza, where he found a few hundred people milling around a dozen or so card tables. After convincing the city to let him reorganize the event, with only 4 months of planning and a small staff, Earth Day Dallas was held in the Dallas Arts District in 2011. Attendance increased from 1,000 people to 48,000, with about 250 booths. In 1 year, Crow transformed a tiny, city-run street fair into one of the largest public green expos in the world, but he was just getting started. Within just a few years, Crow expanded the reach of the event by changing the name from Earth Day Dallas to Earth Day Texas. He hired his close friend Michael Cain as executive director.
I actually came on as the executive director as we made the transition from Earth Day Dallas to Earth Day Texas. And it went from 5 employees to 12 employees. And we had a great year in 2014. The attendance went up 40%, the exhibitors went up 12%, and we really began to see his vision, just that this would be a world-class environmental expo.
Today, under Crow's guidance, Earth Day Texas focuses on encouraging businesses to become more environmentally responsible and recognizing those with achievements to share. He has created the world's largest annual forum for sharing the latest initiatives, discoveries, research, innovations, policies, products, and corporate practices that are reshaping our world.
Greatest contribution that I see that Mr. Crow's working on is making awareness that climate change is real, but his skill set that is unique, and I haven't seen this with any other individual, is the ability to bring diverse groups together. It's the only venue that I'm aware of, Earth Day Texas, is where a group like Greenpeace and ExxonMobil and higher education, K through 12, all come to the same event.
Too often, we get caught up in political dogma, and it becomes an argument over philosophy instead of an educated discussion around approach and opportunity. And where I think Trammell has done an exceptional job is leading on getting out of that political dogma and talk about where are we doing well, where are there opportunities to improve, and let's recognize the great things that industry is already doing, but then let's also talk constructively about where can we all improve going forward.
What Trammell has done that's so important is he's basically made it okay for Republicans to address environmental issues. I mean, it's not, he hasn't convinced the whole country yet, but he's working through Earth Day and through other events he holds all year long to allow Republican leaders to advocate for measures that will deal with climate change, will deal with carbon dioxide pollution, and will also address other environmental concerns. I mean, so he is kind of the Pied Piper in the country doing that. And it's very, very, very important, and I know it's very passionate to him. He is literally the most important environmental investor, I would say, in Texas right now.
The 3-day free event, held in April, will have approximately 1,500 booths and forums that bring together environmental organizations, businesses, government agencies, speakers, interactive programming, subject matter experts, and academic institutions.
We have more colleges and more high schools and other schools than any other green expo in the world. And Texas A&M is the first and the foremost and really the biggest and best college exhibitor.
One of Crow's most interesting environmental endeavors is on the campus of Paul Quinn College, where he has helped fund the transitioning of an unused football field into a community garden.
Like, I love what he's been doing with Paul Quinn College, and just think that that's, you know, an incredible role model for philanthropy. The Food for Good program in Dallas, Texas, and PepsiCo, they connected with Paul Quinn College because Trammell made the first donation to turn the football field into a garden. You know, and at that time it was a series of like 20 gardens that he was creating in the food desert that is South Dallas.
We were in the process of turning the football field into the community garden when, because of relationships that Trammell had at Pepsi, you know, and people become a bit intrigued in Texas when you find out you're turning a football field into a community garden. And they came, and literally the folks from Pepsi were sitting at this table where we are now, where we came up with the idea to turn the whole football field into an organic farm. Our goal is to create an urban food distribution network. That's what we're trying to do. We just don't think anyone in this era, in this city, truthfully in this country, should ever have to live with food insecurity.
Through his work at Paul Quinn College, Earth Day Texas, and numerous other events, Crow has elevated environmental awareness to a heightened level that will impact future generations to come.
When Texas A&M first contacted us about recognizing Trammell with the inaugural Public Health Hero Award, the question came to mind of why Trammell? And the answer, I thought, from the School of Public Health was just wonderful. You know, a good environment will save more people than a good doctor ever can.
We love and admire Trammell as a great visionary, and he comes from a family of visionaries. And he has called us all to be good stewards of this great earth of which we're a part. So we salute him and we admire him for that. He works 7 days a week, and he works 20 hours a day. And I admire the fact that he's giving everything he's got to making this a better planet. And I think when people look back at the history books and see this Republican with a ponytail who has changed the way that people think of Texas and the way that Texas thinks of Texas, particularly when it comes to the environment, that's a legacy that we can all be proud of, that will all make us live longer.
What I would want to achieve more than anything with this is for Texas to take the leadership that it is responsible for and deserves of many environmental concerns and continue to be the energy capital of the world.
If history is any guide, he is certainly likely to succeed.